What's up guys, I'm Yuri and welcome to my channel. Today it's finally time to review the Artisan Zero mousepad. The Artisan pads have quite a lot of hype around them. They are actually quite widely thought to be the most high quality mousepads available. Artisan does offer quite many surface options and it can be a little bit hard to decide which one you would want. Basically for TAC, FPS and arena shooters I would choose the high-end or the Zero. And as you might have guessed, I chose the Zero as my first Artisan mousepad. The build quality on the Artisan Zero is extremely good. The stitching is probably the best I ever seen. It's actually lower than the surface itself, so no one should have any kind of issues with skin irritations on this stitching. There is some fraying on the corners of my mousepad after about 2 weeks of use, and that's a little bit sad considering what I had to pay for this mousepad. The rubber base on the Zero is very high quality. I've often seen these textured rubber bases, but this one is quite smooth, but it sticks to the table like glue. Considering how good it is on my table, I assume that if you have a similar table you will have absolutely no issues with it moving while you game. For me, after 2 months, the base is not quite as good as it used to be, but it's been about 2 months on my drawer and my desk and it has quite a bit of dust on the base. Talking about dust, the surface also gathers quite a bit of dust and hair. They get stuck in the texture, so you can't just wipe it off. A lint roller does help to some extent, but it doesn't clear the issue completely. So again, if you want to get rid of the dust on the surface, you need to wash the mousepad. The surface itself is somewhat rough to touch, but it provides a very smooth glide. It's not as rough to touch as the Cooler Master MP510 or the Odin Infinity Hyper, but it's a little bit rougher to touch than the Xtrfy GP4. So yeah, if you plant your hand on the mousepad, you should have no irritation from the stitching or the surface. Of course, there are different skin types, so some people might get some irritation. By the way guys, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button. We are very close to 2000 subscribers. As for the Clyde, the Artisan Zero does provide more speed than the standard mudpad. There is a good amount of stopping power and a low amount of static friction. The low static friction helps with micro adjusting, the smoothness helps with tracking, and then the stopping power helps with flick shots. In my opinion, the glide on the Zero is too smooth and it lacks a little bit of speed. I've been using these faster and rougher surfaces that provide good speed and good control. And after those, the Zero just feels a little bit bland. So I didn't really want to play that much with the mousepad, and it's a little bit expensive for just, sitting on your desk without gaming. The Zero is available with 3 different kind of hardness levels for the base. Those are X-Soft, Soft and Medium. I myself have the soft version, but I do kind of regret not getting the mid one. In some high pressure situations I do use quite a bit of force to grip my mouse with, and because of the softness that of course affects the glide. So for example in Quake Champions, tracking can seem quite hard at times when the enemy is changing direction and shooting rockets at me. In CSGO, precise flick shots are very easy, but I feel that there is too much give in the mousepad. So I feel that the mid hardness would be more consistent and a better fit for me. My mousepad preferences have changed quite a lot in the past 2 months. The most optimal surface for me has no static friction, is quite fast and provides good stopping power. And the Artisan Zero definitely does not provide that. But that's on me, not on the mousepad. I bought the Zero about 2 months ago before I had these changes on my preferences. And sadly I did not have the time to review it back then. A really good thing about the Artisan Zero is that it's uncoded and it should last for a long time. For me, in the time that I've used it, there is no change in the glide, and even if there is dust on the mousepad, that doesn't affect the performance. All Artisan pads are unaffected by humidity, so if you happen to be living in an area where the humidity changes a lot, you will feel no differences in the glide or the performance. This is pretty much a non-factor for me, as these new finished buildings have a good machine ventilation and the air is very dry, even when the humidity is quite high outside. So you don't necessarily have to move to Finland to get rid of these humidity issues, you can get an Artisan pad. I've tried multiple different kinds of mice and mouse flip with this mousepad, and the experience is pretty much the same with all of them. There can be some variance in the speed though. For example, with the Xtrfy M42 and stock feet, the glide is quite slow. With the Sidechain NP01 and core pads, the glide is faster. With the Modelo Wireless and Glorious stock feet, the glide is similar to the Xtrfy M42. With the Razor Viper Ultimate and its stock feet, the glide is again a little bit faster. There are some very slight changes to the smoothness as well, depending on which feet are you using. With better feet there is more smoothness. For comparison purposes, the Artisan Zero does remind you a lot of the standard cloth pads like the Glorious cloth pad or the SteelSeries QCK. But the Zero does provide more consistency and it's not affected by humidity. It's also very durable, it should last about 10 to 12 months with its original kind of glide. It's up for debate if you need that kind of consistency or durability for in-game performance sakes. Artisan does have multiple size options for their mousepads. I recommend getting the extra large or the large. The extra large, for example, is 490mm x 420mm. The thickness for the soft and the X-Soft versions is 0.4mm and for the mid is 0.3mm. Good cables like the Endgame Gear XM1R cable doesn't seem to have any drag on the mousepad. But worse, stock cables like the Xtrfy M42 cable does seem to have some drag, but that happens on most mousepads. And that's only an issue if your mouse cable management is quite weird and non-optimal. So in my opinion, the Artisan Zero is a clear upgrade over the likes of Glorious Cloth Pad and SteelSeries QCK. Basically, it's an upgrade over any standard cloth pad. The Artisan Zero itself is quite well priced. It's just the fact that you have to buy it from the Artisan web store and shipping to Europe or US is very expensive. I paid about 70 to 80 euros for one and it's way too much for any mousepad. I've heard some rumors that Artisan is actually improving delivery options for this year. If the end cost would be around 40 to 50 euros, I think these Artisan pads would be a great choice. For now, in my opinion, the $70, 70 euro mark is a little bit too much. The surface on the Artisan Zero did not end up being my favorite surface, but it's the most high quality mousepad I've ever tried. For me, the high-end might be the better option, and that will be my next Artisan pad. But a quick conclusion for the Zero. The stitching is absolutely premium, the surface is very consistent, it's highly durable, and it's quite smooth. I just wish there was some roughness to add some speed. But hey, that's just my opinion. If you want a standard cloth pad and you want the absolute best and you don't care how much it costs, get the Artisan Zero. I would recommend the XL size and soft version for most people. That's pretty much it for the video. It was very interesting to finally try an Artisan pad. Very high quality, but the surface did not end up being the best I've ever tried. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you enjoyed my content, hit that subscribe button, and see you in the next one.